Have you considered more diversification outside of the poultry?
Yeah, we're actually doing it right now. We got we're leasing land from the state, and we're doing different crops, um, some vegetable crops, and also um, uh, flowers. And um, we're gonna grow indigo shortly. I just prepped some land. Um, So maybe some non-traditional crops, we're trying different things and see what sticks. Originally we were gonna do some orchard crops, uh, but anyway, we're trying to do something a little bit different.
Right on.
Um, so yeah.
That's cool. You also do consulting, right?
Yeah, people who wants to grow their own chickens or want to start a business out of it. Um, right now, I'm actually contracted by Sustainable Molokai to teach a poultry production class. This is the second year. And then I am collaborating with Go Farm. We're doing a poultry production class. Well, we just got done with one a couple weeks ago, and so we're looking to continue and do that. Um, and then prior to COVID, we were doing poultry slaughter class. We were doing that once a quarter, but because of the classes that I've been doing, I've only been able to do it like once or twice a year. Um, and so, yeah, this is part of that, educating the public as far as, um, what we do, what we have, and, where food comes from. So initially, I'm not gonna lie, I'm doing this class to make extra money, but I saw another benefit to it. Um, and so not only am I making some side money, but also, you know, uh, I feel like I'm making some lifelong customers because um, we have people that reach out, that took the class like a few years ago, and they say, "Oh yeah, I love your product. I always go to restaurant or that have your chicken, or I always buy your chicken." And so to me, that's more rewarding than, the monetary aspect that I got from the class. So,
Right on.
um,
Are you part of any CSA, or have you thought about a CSA model to
yeah, we did actually, but you know, chicken is not the same as vegetables. People get sick of chicken rather quickly.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
some
Yeah, yeah, I'm black, so you know how that goes. Let's just
no,
keep
I
it
mean, same. It's,
100%. Yeah.
same with me. But we tried. We took a break from market, and then we came back with the intent of, hey, let's sell some subscription. Um, but yeah, it's tough because um I don't know if anybody who would want to get a chicken every week. And if there is, at what cost is it to us, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, right
um
on.
so yeah, so we're hoping um you know uh we can find a happy medium with the dog food and then with the uh for human consumption. Um, so that way, we can keep continue. And then, I know we ain't gonna do this forever, and also that's why there's a push for us to, you know, teach other people how to do it, and hopefully we get, one or two individuals that will do. But if they don't, but having the knowledge that they can do it themselves, I think is also important, and is also as satisfying. even
Hmm.
if they don't pursue it as a business.
Right on. There's there's some folks on social media who they move from the wholesale model, and this is for beef, so it's a little different. Um,
Right,
but they moved from the wholesale model to the retail model, and they saw a two times increase or more increase in their bottom line. Have you guys done the math on that? How feasible is that for you folks to kind of move more towards the household, like kind of like what we were just talking about the CSA, but beyond that
right.
to like expand out that way.
Okay, here's the thing. Um, you know, I was an accounting major. I didn't finish. However, I jumped around, one of the guys I work for, he's a cabinet shop owner. Um, and he primarily serviced commercial accounts. The profit margin is really slim as opposed to consumer or consumer clients, right? But and this is like years and years before I even got into farming. But I remember what he said, because I did some side jobs for him. He said, um, oh, and this side job was a private, uh, it was actually his friend, but so he was kind of doing it as a favor, even though he was making money off of it. But he said, um, or he asked us to do the job and he told us what the job was and everything. And so it's like, okay, this is just normal, part of our job kind of thing. And then he said, normally I wouldn't take this job, but because it's my friend, I took the job. And then he said, and I said, why not? Aren't you making any money? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm making a lot of more money. The profit margin is way higher than, and I said, so why are you taking uh just commercial accounts or commercial jobs? And he said, because I can get into a shouting match with the general contractor that, hired me to install and build the cabinets. I can get to a shouting match. We can cuss at each other. But at the end of the day, it's just a job and we can still hang out and drink beers after. And he said, you can't pull the same thing with a private or a homeowner. You can't do that. You can't be like in a shouting match and hang out after because people are vested in their home. This is where they live, all kinds of feels happen there. You can't do that. And then
Sorry, you said so. You said yeah, you went out again. So you were to get back. You were saying you can't do that to folks' home, you know.
right,
And so with corporate, you can you have that leeway because they're more invested into the business
right,
versus it's not a personal thing.
right. So when I got into when we started doing this chicken business, um, I saw it firsthand. Meaning, okay, I can sell a restaurant. Like, if we have a good relationship with a restaurant, I can call the owner or whoever and I say, "Hey, I got these chickens, but they got some broken wings. I can cut them off. Obviously, you're not gonna get charged, but are you okay with that?" And a lot of times they say yes, because we don't use the wing, or wing is just a supplement or whatever, or we just make stock out of it, whatever. And then I said, what if there's some blemishes on the skin or whatever, And they're like, it doesn't matter because after they're cooked, you can't tell anyway, right? So if you sell the same chicken to the public, to a retail customer, they're gonna look at that thing as if, looking at it under a microscope kind of thing. Like, hey, it's missing a wing. Hey, it's how come there's these spots
Yeah.
over here? What are these? So, um, and this is probably an extreme example, but I, it's not worth the headache, is what I'm saying.
I
Um,
heard that.
uh, you know, but having said that, I'm not saying I'm not gonna do it. At this point in time, it's just easier for us to do the wholesale part because we don't have a retail um price anyway. What I sell to uh the our business accounts is the same price as I sell to retail customers, except the retail customers got to come to us if they want chicken. We don't have any other outlet. We do
Mm,
have some retail accounts, but they mark it up obviously. So
yeah.
if they buy from them, it's at a markup price. But
Right.
but if they want it direct from us, you know, they just gotta come and pre-order it.
Right on. Where can they purchase your birds from retail, and then where can they go and buy and eat at a restaurant right now?
So as far as retail, the local general store, um, Foodland, um, Foodland Farms at Kamakana Ali'i in Kapolei. We haven't provided to the Kahala market at Foodland in a while because we lost a lot of birds from that previous rain and we're still feeling the effects of the rain. Um, uh, Also, Kualoa Ranch, they have a market now that's on every week. We haven't been able to provide for a few weeks. Um, and then Nigia Market, but it's cut up parts, so we cut up parts for them. And then they package it. Um, and then as far as restaurants, um, Bet, um, MW, the uh, the two restaurants at the Ritz, Levi and Cora. Um, Sorry, I'm blanking.
It's all right.
Kapahale,
Yeah.
um, Yakitori Hachibe, uh, oh, the Pig and the Lady, and I don't know. I think I'm missing somebody, but I don't know.
All right.
Anyway, those are
And you
some of
hit the
the.
farmers markets, you say?
We're not there anymore.
Not anymore. Not the Colo Ranch.
Oh, no, they set up one of the pavilion as a farmer's market. It's mainly their products, but they have some partner farms that they bring in products for. So, and we're fortunate enough to be one of those. So
Right
they
on.
sell their beef, and then we have our chickens there. But like I said, it's been a few weeks. We haven't been able to provide, so
Okay.
we have, yeah.